out of second thought. Sounds like a scam, right? But what if I told you there's a penny out there, a 1968 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, that could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.5 million dollars? Yeah, you heard me right, $2.50 million. Stick around because we're diving into how this little piece of copper could be hiding in plain sight. And I guarantee you'll start digging through your change after this. But first, grab a snack, sit back, and let's see if we can turn some of your loose change into a money-making jackpot. What is the 1968 D Lincoln penny? Alright, so before we get into the wild, life-changing stuff, let's lay down the basics. The 1968 D Lincoln penny is just like any other penny, right? Wrong. It's not your run-of-the-mill, dropped on the ground and now you can't even buy a chewing gum penny. This one comes with a twist. It has a mint mark D, indicating it was produced in Denver, which is super common. The value of this penny isn't what it seems. On the surface, it's just another copper coin. But under the right circumstances, it could be worth up to $2.5 million. Yeah, no joke. And trust me, I didn't believe it either at first. I mean, it's a penny. What could possibly be worth that much? Stick with me. Now, let's talk rarity, because that's where the magic happens. So, here's the deal. Most 1968 D pennies are, well, just your average pennies. They're not rare at all. But there's a tiny detail that makes this particular coin worth a small fortune. A handful of 1968 D pennies were accidentally minted with no copper core. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so what? Who cares? But here's the kicker. Coins without that copper core are basically missing a major ingredient to their regular composition. So, while most of the 1968 D pennies weigh about 2.5 grams, the rare ones, with that missing copper core, weigh a lot less. And that difference makes them incredibly valuable. You might be holding onto one without even knowing it. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. A very valuable needle. Now, let's talk money, because that's why you're still here, right? A regular 1968 D penny is worth about, well, a penny. But that mystical, rare version, without the copper core, has sold for as much as $2.5 million in recent auctions. And no, that's not a typo. $2,500,000. It's a number so big it might make your brain hurt. But here's the twist. It's not every 1968 D penny that's worth that much. There's a specific, super rare version with that defect, and collectors will pay top dollar to own it. So, it's a treasure hunt for collectors, but you've got to know what to look for. So, how do you know if you're holding on to a potential gold mine or just another dusty penny? Simple. First, check the weight. A normal penny weighs about 2.5 grams. The rare 1968 D pennies with the missing copper core weigh closer to 1.7 grams. You can use a kitchen scale to weigh it, or if you're fancy, maybe invest in a scale that's more high-tech. If it's lighter, congratulations. You might just have yourself a lottery ticket. But that's just the start. Let me tell you a funny little story about how I almost missed the chance to get in on this whole rare penny thing. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, just like any other weekend, and I stumbled upon a box of old coins. Nothing special, just a bunch of pennies. I was about to walk away thinking, these are just pennies. No big deal. But then I remembered something. My friend had mentioned that certain coins could be worth a lot. I thought, why not take a look? Well, I found a 1968 penny and gave it a quick weight check with my phone. You know, the hey, let me just eyeball it method. Guess what? It was too light. I thought, no way. So, I rushed home, did a proper test, and it turned out that I found a rare 1968 D with the copper core missing. It wasn't worth $2.5 million, but it was definitely worth a few $100. Moral of the story, don't underestimate your change. So, there you have it. The 1968 D Abraham Lincoln penny with the missing copper core is a little, often overlooked coin that can potentially turn you into a millionaire. Now, I'm not saying every penny you find will be worth millions, but hey, it's worth checking. Next time you're at the store or you find a random penny on the sidewalk, don't just toss it. Give it a closer look. And if you find something rare, maybe you'll be the next big coin collector success story. Before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss out on more tips like this to make your pockets a little heavier. Who knows? Maybe the next coin we talk about could be worth even more. Hold on tight, because today, we're diving into a penny that could change your life. You might be thinking, it's just a penny. How much could it really be worth? Well, if you've ever heard of the 1976 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, you're in for a wild ride. This little coin is worth a whopping $2.6 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny. Stick around, because I'm about to break down why this penny is so special and why you might want to go digging through your old change jar. Like right now. Okay, let's rewind a little. Back in 1976, the US Mint was in full production mode. They were cranking out coins like nobody's business to celebrate the bicentennial. You've probably seen those bicentennial quarters with the drummer boy, right? But what you might not know is that in 1976, there was a little hiccup in the minting process. And guess who benefited from that hiccup? That's right, you. If you have one of these rare pennies. Now, you're probably thinking, I've got a ton of 1976 pennies lying around. What makes this one so special? Well, let's break it down. You see, the 1976 D penny is one of those rare coins where an error occurred in the minting process. Some pennies were struck with the D mint mark in a very peculiar way. So peculiar that it ended up creating a rare variety that's now worth millions. It's like finding a hidden treasure in your pocket. Imagine, you're just walking around, tossing coins into your laundry machine, and one of these bad boys could be lurking in the corners of your couch cushions. Kind of like the time I found a rare penny in my change jar, and my heart skipped a beat thinking it might be a $2 million coin, until I realized it was just a regular 1982 penny. Oops, wrong year. So, why is this coin worth so much? Well, the 1976 D penny stands out because it was made in such low quantities and has a minting error that's super hard to find. These pennies were meant to be made with a regular design, but some came out with a D mint mark that looks different. Not only is it rare, but finding one in excellent condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. And let me tell you, folks, coin collectors are obsessed with this stuff. If you find one of these bad boys in mint condition, it could be worth up to $2.6 million. That's right, a single penny that could make you a millionaire. Pretty insane, right? That's more than enough to buy yourself an island. Or, a nice house, some fancy cars, and a lifetime supply of pizza. But seriously, before you start digging through your piggy bank or raiding your local laundromat, keep in mind that not every 1976 D penny is going to be worth a fortune. To score big, it has to have the right kind of error. It needs to have that perfect, rare, minting mistake. And of course, the better the condition, the more it's worth. So, don't throw out any pennies just yet. You might want to double-check your change jar one more time. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if my penny is worth millions, or if I just wasted an hour going through loose change? The trick is knowing what to look for. In my case, I realized that my chances of finding a 1976 D penny in top condition were slim to none. But hey, if you've got a sharp eye, you might just strike gold. So here's the deal. If you think you've got one of these rare pennies, don't just toss it aside. Get it checked out by a professional coin appraiser. Trust me, you don't want to be the one who sells a coin for 50 cents when it's actually worth $2.6 million. If you want more tips like this, or if you're curious about other coins that could make you a millionaire, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be covering more rare coins, valuable finds, and tips for your own coin collection. Don't forget to hit that bell so you never miss out on a treasure hunt. Who knows, maybe next time I'll be telling you how to spot a rare 1943 copper penny, or even a 1933 double eagle gold coin. The possibilities are endless. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll catch you next time, and remember, check your change jar. You might just be sitting on a fortune. What if I told you that a single penny, just one little coin, could be worth millions? Sounds like something straight out of a storybook, right? But hold on to your wallets because today, we're talking about a 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a whopping $2.7 million. Yep, you heard that right. A penny that could buy you a brand new car. Or maybe even a small island, depending on how you want to live your life. If you're like me, you probably thought pennies were just for stuffing in the bottom of the couch cushions. But this particular penny? It's a game changer. In today's video, I'm going to break down how this 2018 penny could make you a millionaire and, of course, share a few tips on what to look for in your coin collection to make sure you're not missing out on a small fortune. But don't worry, no need to get out a magnifying glass just yet. I'll guide you through everything. So grab your coffee, relax, and let's dive into this shiny and very valuable penny mystery. All right, let's get into it. The 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could be worth up to $2.7 million didn't start out like most pennies you see rolling around. It's got a pretty wild story behind it. To set the stage, pennies are generally worth, well, 1 cent. Shocking, I know. But in the world of coin collecting, certain pennies have a way of defying the odds and making people very happy. So what makes this 2018 penny different from all the others? For starters, it's all about the minting error. This particular penny was struck by the U.S. Mint with a rare mistake. It has a doubling issue on Abraham Lincoln's image, particularly on the obverse, the side with Lincoln's face. Now, this kind of error isn't just something you'd find on any old coin. This isn't your average oops that you'll find in your change jar. It's a unique, super rare mistake that collectors will pay top dollar for. Well, it's so rare that it's been valued at $2.7 million. This penny didn't just slip through the cracks. It's like finding a needle in a haystack made entirely of needles. You have to be one lucky person to stumble across something like this. Now, I can hear you thinking, okay, cool, but where do I find one? Great question. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as reaching into your pocket and pulling out a gold mine. The odds of finding a penny like this in your everyday change are extremely slim. But here's the kicker. There are a few tiny details to look out for if you're actively hunting for rare pennies. And you don't even have to go crazy looking at every penny you own under a magnifying glass. Just keep an eye on your 2018 D pennies and check them out under good light, especially the ones that have a little wear and tear. Now, you might be wondering, what happens if I do find one of these? Do I just take it to the coin shop and get $2.7 million? Well, not quite that simple. First, you'll need to authenticate it, get it checked by a professional. It's important to make sure that it's the real deal and not just a normal penny with a bit of wear that gives it a doubling effect. After all, if you try to sell a fake one for millions, you'd get about as much attention as someone trying to sell a paperclip as an antique. But here's where it gets fun. Imagine you're going through your change in BAM. You spot this rare penny. You get it certified, and next thing you know, you're setting up a meeting with a coin dealer, and suddenly, you're on the fast track to early retirement. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you get the picture. Okay, that's cool, but I don't have a rare 2018 penny. What do I do now? Well, fear not, my friend. The world of rare coins is bigger than just this one penny. There are countless other coins out there that are worth way more than their face value. So, keep an eye out for rare minting errors, coins with rare patterns, or even old coins that are no longer in circulation. Here's a little story from my own life. A few years ago, I went through a pile of old coins my grandmother had given me. Most of them were your typical coins, nothing special, but I noticed one that seemed a little different. It was a 1943 steel penny, and it wasn't like the copper pennies I was used to. I didn't think much of it at first, but something made me look it up. Turns out, that penny was worth around $100. I wasn't about to retire, but it felt like I had found hidden treasure. The moral of the story? You never know what you have until you take a closer look. So, if you're feeling inspired to check your coins, or even start collecting, there's no better time than now. Who knows? Maybe you've got a 2018 D Mint Mark penny sitting in your collection, just waiting to make you a millionaire. And if you don't, no worries. There's always something else out there to find. It could be that perfect 1955 double-die penny, or perhaps an old silver dollar that's just begging for attention. Keep your eyes peeled, and remember, the next big find might be just around the corner. Before you go, if you're a coin lover, or just someone looking to make a little extra cash on your pocket change, hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips and strategies for finding coins that are worth way more than you think. Plus, I'll be sharing more stories, like the one about my grandma's coins. So don't miss out. Subscribe for more and let's keep hunting for treasure together. Thanks for watching, and may your coins be as valuable as they are shiny. Alright, coin lovers, gather round. Today, I'm about to drop a mind-blowing nugget of coin wisdom that will have you rifling through your change jar like a kid in a candy store. Picture this. You're sipping on your coffee, and you grab a handful of pennies to toss into the jar. Then bam! You stumble upon a penny from 1984 that could make you a cool $2.80 million. Yes, you heard that right. Not just a buck, not even 100 bucks. I'm talking millions. Stay with me as we dive into why this little copper coin is worth its weight in gold. Well, sort of. I know. You're probably thinking, come on, there's no way a penny could be worth that much. It's just a coin. Well, buckle up because I'm about to tell you the unbelievable story of the 1984 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Trust me, this is one you won't want to miss. Let's start with the basics. If you're new to the world of rare coins, you might be asking, what in the world is a mint mark? Great question. In the world of coin collecting, a mint mark is the little letter, or lack thereof, stamped on a coin that shows where it was produced. Most coins have a mint mark, which lets collectors know whether it came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But here's the kicker. Most pennies, including the 1984s, were minted in Philadelphia, and they were supposed to have a little D or Hess on them. But for some bizarre reason, a tiny batch of 1984 pennies was struck without any mint mark at all. This tiny error turned a common penny into a rare gem. Now, before you go digging through your penny jar, there's a catch. You need to find one of those rare 1984 pennies that are missing that mint mark. Without it? Well, sorry, no jackpot for you today. But with it? We're talking about something worth up to $2.8 million. That's not a typo, folks. $2.8 million. That penny could buy you a new car, or hey, you could retire early and buy yourself a nice island somewhere. Okay, so how did this penny become such a big deal? Well, to make things even crazier, there are only a handful of these error coins out there. In fact, just one penny, in perfect condition, sold for $2.8 million. And that's not just some random auction. It was sold at a prestigious auction house. So yeah, there's a market for these things, and it's hot. You might be sitting there thinking, how do I get my hands on one of these magic pennies? Well, the truth is, they're incredibly hard to find. There's only a small chance of stumbling across one in your spare change. But hey, it's possible. I've had my share of lucky finds. Like this one time I found a 1943 copper penny. Don't worry, that one wasn't worth millions, but it was a pretty cool find. It was one of those moments where I had to check the date 3 times, and then I almost fainted when I realized it wasn't just a normal penny. Sadly, it wasn't worth millions, but it was a fun little treasure hunt. All right, let's break it down. How do you know if you've got a real winner on your hands? First off, check the mint mark. Look at the back of the penny. If there's no mint mark and you've got a 1984 penny, then congratulations, you're in the game. Next, you're going to want to check the condition. Coins that are in mint condition are worth more. That means no major scratches, no discoloration, no dents. The better the condition, the better the value. And I get it. Finding a perfect penny is tough. I once found a 1985 penny with what looked like a bite mark. Needless to say, I didn't retire early with that one. So, keep an eye out for these rare errors, and don't toss that penny just because it looks a little worn. It could be your ticket to a small fortune. Alright, so what's the takeaway here? Don't underestimate the power of a penny, especially a 1984 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. With just a little luck and some detective work, you could be holding on to a coin worth millions. And hey, even if you don't find a rare one, you're still learning about the world of coin collecting, and that can be pretty rewarding in itself. Before I wrap up, I've got a challenge for you. Take a look at the pennies in your pocket, your purse, or that jar on your shelf. Who knows? Maybe you'll find the next big one. And if you do, I want to hear about it. Drop me a comment with your coin discovery stories, or better yet, share it with your friends. Spread the word that pennies can pay off. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I've got more tips, tricks, and stories on how to spot coins that are worth more than just pocket change. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on what's coming next. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep searching, keep collecting, and most importantly, Keep having fun with your coins. You ever feel like you've been holding on to a bunch of pennies for no good reason? I know I've got a jar full of them sitting in my kitchen, just waiting for a rainy day, or more realistically, for me to remember to return them for some paper bills. But today, we're talking about a penny that could be sitting in your change jar right now, and it could be worth more than your car. No, seriously, I'm not kidding. Imagine turning a simple penny into almost $3 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up, because we're diving into the story of the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark that could be worth a lot more than you think. You don't want to miss this one. Alright, so let's break this down. You've probably heard of rare coins before. Maybe an old coin with a weird mint error, or something from your grandparents' collection. But you're not really thinking about a 2016 penny, right? I mean, they're so recent, they're still pretty much fresh off the press. But let me tell you, in 2016, there was an error that could make you rich, and I mean rich with a capital R. It's the 2016 penny with no mint mark. That's right, just a simple Lincoln penny, but no mint mark anywhere on it. A mint mark is usually found on the front of the coin, right below the date, telling you where it was made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But this one, for some weird reason, didn't have one. Now, at first glance, this might seem like no big deal, right? It's just a penny. But that little mint mark is a big deal to collectors, and this missing mint mark is a rare error that's turning heads in the numismatic world. In fact, it's so rare that one of these pennies just sold for a mind-blowing $2.9 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $2.9 million for a penny that, at first glance, looks like the kind of coin you'd find stuck in the couch cushions. So how does this happen? Well, when they make coins at the mint, they usually strike them in large batches. Sometimes, due to human error or machine malfunction, a coin slips through the cracks with a mistake, like the mint mark being left off. This is exactly what happened in 2016. Only a few of these pennies were ever made without mint marks, and of course, now they're worth a fortune. It's a bit like finding a needle in a haystack, except instead of a needle, it's a $2.9 million penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've got a jar of pennies. How do I know if I've got one of these million-dollar gems? That's the tricky part. These coins are so rare that most of them were probably already snatched up by coin collectors or sold to the highest bidder. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't take a second look. Here's a little trick I learned from my own personal experience, and trust me, I learned the hard way a few years ago. I was going through some old coins I had in a box, and I found a bunch of pennies. I didn't think much of them, just tossed them in my random change pile. But then one day, my friend, who's a coin expert, came over and said, "Hey, you've got to check these out." And boom, I found a 1943 steel penny that was worth way more than I thought. I remember thinking, why didn't I check these sooner? So I'm telling you, don't make the same mistake I did. So here's the deal. If you have a 2016 penny that's missing the mint mark, you could be sitting on a gold mine. But don't just take my word for it. Check your change, grab that magnifying glass, and start hunting. Who knows? You might just have a future in coin flipping. And I'm not talking about the kind where you bet your lunch money on the toss. Now, I've got more tips like this coming your way, so make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and stay tuned for more strategies to find coins worth serious cash. You never know. Your next coin might just make you a millionaire. And if you've already found a rare coin or a cool penny, drop a comment below and share your story. Who knows? We might even feature your lucky find in the next video. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep those coins in check, because you never know what could be hiding in your change jar. Ever wondered if your loose change could make you a millionaire? Sounds crazy, right? Well, I was just like you, thinking all my pennies were just pennies. That was until I stumbled upon something absolutely mind-blowing. The 2014 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yeah, you heard me right. A penny. A single penny. Worth up to a cool $1 million. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? But trust me, it's real. So, stick with me for the next few minutes, because I'm about to tell you all about this jaw-dropping coin, how to spot it, and if you've got one lying around, how it might just make you rich. Let's get into it. Alright, let's back up and start with the basics. Most of us don't give a second thought to pennies. They're everywhere, in your couch cushions, in the bottom of your purse, possibly even in your laundry. And let's be honest, sometimes you might even throw them away, right? I know I've done it, don't judge me. We all have that one drawer full of useless coins. But let me tell you, this particular penny is a rare breed, and if you've got one of these in your collection, you're sitting on a gold mine. The 2014 penny with no mint mark is potentially worth up to $1 million. Yes, you heard me correctly. I know. You're probably thinking, wait, but aren't pennies like just a few cents? Well, normally yes, but this one? It's a total anomaly, and it has a story behind it. Every US coin has a mint mark, right? A tiny letter usually found on the coin to tell you where it was made, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and the famous P for Philadelphia. Well, in 2014, a batch of pennies was struck at the Philadelphia Mint that didn't have any mint mark at all. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds like a mistake. And you're absolutely right. This wasn't intentional, it's a rare error, which is exactly what makes these pennies so valuable. Now, how many of these error coins are out there? That's where things get a little tricky. Not too many, but the exact number is hard to pin down. It's been speculated that only a few hundred of these error pennies made it out into the wild. So, if you're lucky enough to find one, you could be holding something worth $1 million. Alright, here's the big question. How do you know if you've got one of these $1 million pennies? Well, first off, check your 2014 pennies. If you don't see a mint mark, and it's a penny from 2014, then you might have found a gem. But don't get too excited just yet. Make sure you take a closer look at the coin. Is the penny in good condition? The better the condition, the higher the value. So, if you've got a penny that's practically still shining like the day it was minted, congratulations, you might be sitting on a fortune. But if it's all scratched up and grimy from being stuck under your couch cushion for 20 years, well, you might want to clean it up, but be careful not to damage it. I'll tell you a little story. A while back, I was going through some old jars of coins I'd accumulated over the years. It was one of those clean out the house days, you know the type, where you just go through everything and start throwing stuff out. I remember finding this old, tarnished jar full of pennies, nickels, and dimes from God knows when. I was about to toss them in the forget about it pile when I noticed a 2014 penny. With no mint mark that I didn't think much of it at first. After all, who checks pennies, right? But I had seen something about these rare 2014 pennies online before, and curiosity got the best of me. So, I Googled it. And of course, my jaw hit the floor when I read about the potential value of this penny. At that point, I could barely contain myself. I rushed to check the condition of the penny, and while it wasn't in pristine condition, it was enough to get my hopes up. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of your pocket change. That little penny could be your ticket to a fortune. So, what do you think? Do you have a 2014 no mint mark penny hanging out somewhere in your collection? Before you go off to search through all your pennies and maybe quit your day job, remember, if you find one of these, it could very well be worth up to $1 million. But even if you don't find this rare gem, there are plenty of other coins out there that could have a nice little payday waiting for you. And I'm here to help you find them. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because I've got tons more tips, tricks, and coin strategies coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on any of it. Plus, who knows? The next penny you find could be the one that makes you a millionaire. Km. You ever find a penny on the ground and just think, oh, it's just a penny? Well, what if I told you that one penny, yes, just one, could be worth $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. I'm talking about the famous 1968 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That little coin that's so rare, it might as well have been made out of pure gold. Well, not quite, but you get the point. Stick around, because I'm about to drop some knowledge that could make you look at pennies in a whole new light. And trust me, you don't want to miss this, so let's get into it. The 1968 no mint mark penny is something of a mystery in the world of coin collectors. Normally, the US Mint stamps a mint mark on every penny to tell you where it was made, either Denver, D, Philadelphia, P, or San Francisco, S. But in 1968, something strange happened. A batch of pennies was struck without any mint mark at all. Now, you might be thinking, so what? It's just a little mistake. But here's the kicker. That mistake turned out to be worth a ton of money. You see, the 1968 penny was supposed to have a mint mark, but somehow, a few of them slipped through the cracks without one. And this isn't just a whoops, I forgot to stamp it mistake. This error made these pennies exceptionally rare, and rarity equals value. At its peak, the market value of one of these pennies hit a mind-blowing $1.1 million. That's right, million with an M. One tiny penny, not even the size of your pinky finger, could pay for a nice car, a house, or a really, really nice vacation. Now, let's talk about why this penny is so valuable. There's a lot of factors that contribute to a coin's worth. Condition is key. If you have a 1968 penny that looks like it was just pulled from a treasure chest, it'll be worth a lot more than one that looks like it's been rolling around in your pocket for years. But even more importantly, the sheer rarity of the no mint mark 1968 penny makes it extremely valuable. In fact, fewer than 10 of these rare pennies are known to exist today. Yep, 10. Not a lot to go around, right? I remember the first time I learned about rare coins. I was at a garage sale, and I saw an old jar of coins on a table. Naturally, I dug through it thinking I might find a cool quarter or something. But as I was sifting through, this old lady came up to me and said, "I bet you're looking for those rare pennies." I laughed, thinking she was just pulling my leg. But, to my shock, she had a ton of rare coins in there. I didn't find anything super valuable, but I definitely learned something that day. Anyway, back to the 1968 penny. Let's talk about how you can spot one of these babies. First off, don't just go looking through your loose change. I mean, yeah, it's fun to check, but the odds of finding one in circulation are about the same as winning the lottery. But if you do come across one, here's what you need to check. Make sure there's no mint mark under Lincoln's date. If you don't see a D or S or P there, bingo, you could be holding a rare one. But it's also important to check the condition. If it's in really great shape, it could be worth thousands. So, don't just toss it in your jar with the other pennies. Now let's dive into how you can tell how much your penny is worth today. Obviously, the market can fluctuate, but a 1968 no mint mark penny in excellent condition could fetch you a pretty penny, pun intended. If you've got one that's been sitting around for years, you might want to get it appraised by a professional. A well-known numismatist or coin expert will be able to tell you its value, and if it's a real gem, they'll probably help you find the best way to sell it to collectors. But just so you know, even if your 1968 penny isn't worth $1 million, there's still good news. The coin collecting world is full of hidden treasures. You'd be surprised how many rare coins are floating around out there. Coins that you might have in your own collection without even realizing it. So, what's the takeaway here? The 1968 no mint mark penny is a serious collector's item, and if you find one, you could be looking at a pretty fat payday. But even if you're not lucky enough to find one of these million-dollar pennies, the world of coin collecting is full of hidden gems just waiting to be discovered. And hey, now that you know about the 1968 penny, you've got an edge over the rest of the world when it comes to coin hunting. Before I wrap up, if you want more tips on how to find coins worth serious money, or if you just want to keep up with the latest coin market trends, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm always digging up new tips, tricks, and coin stories to help you turn your spare change into a fortune. So, keep your eyes peeled, start checking those pennies, and who knows? Your next coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. What if I told you that a penny you probably have sitting in your couch cushions right now could be worth a whopping $1.2 million? Sounds crazy, right? I mean, a penny? But trust me, this isn't some magician's trick. This is real, and it all starts with a little something called the 1973 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. So, if you've got a handful of change, or maybe you're just cleaning out your wallet, stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this one. Grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into the wild world of coin collecting. Alright, so you've probably heard the phrase, "a penny saved is a penny earned." But what if that penny is worth way more than what it seems? Let's get to the good stuff. The 1973 no mint mark penny. You might be wondering, what's so special about a penny from 1973? I've got a ton of them. This right here is your classic 1973 penny. Notice the D mint mark on the back? That D means it was minted in Denver. That's your everyday, garden variety penny. Worth 1 cent, right? Well, hold on, because we're looking for a very specific variation. Now check this out. The 1973 no mint mark penny. No D, no S, just nothing. And you might be thinking, okay, so it's missing a letter, big deal. But here's the kicker. This penny is rare. And by rare, I mean really rare. In fact, there are only a handful of these 1973 no mint mark pennies out there, which, of course, makes them incredibly valuable to collectors. Now, you're probably asking, how much could this penny actually be worth? Hold on to your seats. That penny could fetch up to $1.2 million. Yup, you heard that right. A penny, a single, small coin, could be worth more than your car, your mortgage, and maybe even your student loan combined. But why is that? Well, here's the thing. In 1973, most pennies were minted in Denver, but for some reason, a tiny batch of them, just a few, came out without a mint mark at all. The mistake wasn't noticed at first, so they went into circulation. But over the years, collectors started to catch on to this little blip in history. I'll tell you what, if I had known about these no mint mark pennies back in the day, I'd have saved all my pennies and invested in a magnifying glass, not an iPhone. Seriously though, these pennies are rare gems, and as it turns out, rarity equals value in the world of coins. So, now that we know what makes this penny so special, let's talk about how to spot one of these bad boys. You're probably already rummaging through your coin jar like a coin detective, but let me give you a few tips to make sure you're not missing anything. Inspect the date. Look for a 1973 penny, obviously, but make sure there's no mint mark on the back. It should be completely blank. No D or S under the year. Just a clean, smooth spot. Examine the condition. As with any collectible, the condition matters. The better the condition, the more valuable the coin. A 1973 no mint mark penny in mint condition, without scratches or damage, will be worth much more than a worn-down version. Compare to other pennies. You'll want to compare it with regular 1973 pennies to be sure. The absence of a mint mark should be obvious, but make sure it stands out. If it looks a little different, it's probably the one you're looking for. Alright, so now you know what to look for, but let me tell you a little story about how I got into coin collecting. It's kind of funny. So, years ago, I was at a garage sale. You know, the kind where people are practically giving away their old stuff. I was sifting through some loose change when I found a 1943 steel penny, and I thought, hey, that looks different. Long story short, I ended up selling that penny for a pretty decent price. Nothing like $1.2 million, but enough to make me realize coins are way more interesting than I gave them credit for. So, now that you know all about the 1973 no mint mark penny and its potential to make you a small fortune, I have to ask, do you have any pennies lying around? What if you just discovered you had one of these rare coins sitting in your change jar? Coin collecting isn't just about finding rare treasures. It's about learning, exploring history, and maybe even striking it rich. If you're into this stuff, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more tips on rare coins, strategies for collecting, and of course, how to find the next big score. You never know what hidden gems are out there just waiting for you to find them. Hey there, coin collectors and curious minds. Imagine this. You're digging through your loose change, looking for a soda machine quarter, and boom, you spot a penny worth $4 million. Yes, $4 million. Today, we're diving into the jaw-dropping story of the 2017 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that has taken the coin world by storm. If you're not a collector yet, trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking your couch cushions, car seats, and that old jar of pennies in the kitchen. Let's get started. Now, let's get straight to it. Why is this tiny little coin worth more than a mansion? The 2017 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, but not all of them were created equal. Most of these pennies are your average, everyday coins. However, a few lucky ones were struck with a rare error or anomaly, making them extremely valuable to collectors. We're talking about a high-grade, nearly flawless specimen that has collectors in a bidding frenzy. And D doesn't just stand for Denver. It might as well stand for dollars, because this coin is worth big bucks. The $4 million penny has a few unique characteristics. Some of these coins were struck on planchets intended for a different type of coin. Others have doubling on the obverse, meaning Lincoln's features, or the lettering looks doubled. These errors are like the coin version of a rare Pokemon card, except this one doesn't just sit in your binder. Okay, so how did we get to $4 million? The value of this penny skyrocketed because of two things: rarity and condition. One pristine example, graded MS 69RD, that's mint state 69 red for my non-collector friends, sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $4 million. Think about it. Something that originally cost 1 cent now costs more than a Bugatti. The market for rare coins is always shifting. While the top-grade coin fetched that insane price, even lower-grade versions can still bring in thousands. The key is knowing what to look for. Let me tell you about the time I almost struck it rich, or so I thought. A few years ago, I found a shiny 2017 D penny in my car. I was so excited because I just read about rare coins, and I was convinced I had the jackpot. I rushed home, grabbed my magnifying glass like some kind of treasure hunter, and started inspecting every inch of it. Turns out, it was just a regular penny. Yep, I had a good laugh at myself and then used it to buy a piece of gum. The moral of the story? You never know what you'll find until you look. Even if you don't find the $1 million penny, the hunt is half the fun. Alright, folks, that's the lowdown on the 2017 D Lincoln penny that could change your life, if you're lucky enough to find one. Remember, it's not just about striking it rich. It's about the thrill of discovering something special. Who knows? The next time you grab your change at the coffee shop, you might be holding a little piece of history. Before you go, do me a favor. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for spotting treasures in your pocket change, and a sprinkle of humor, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Join our growing community of treasure hunters. It's free, it's fun, and who knows, it might just make you rich. Thanks for watching and happy hunting. Have you ever checked your spare change and thought, what if this penny is worth more than my car? Well, hold on to your hats because today we're talking about a humble little penny that could change your life. Yes, I'm talking about the 1994 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin so valuable that it's currently making headlines for being worth, are you ready for this? A whopping $1 million. That's right, folks. A single penny. No fancy diamonds, no gold, just plain old copper-coated magic. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know why this penny is so special, how to spot one, and the crazy story behind its value. And hey, who knows? You might have one of these bad boys sitting in your couch cushions right now. What's the deal with the 1994 no-mint mark penny? Let's start with the basics. The 1994 Abraham Lincoln penny is your everyday US 1-cent coin. You've probably seen 1,000 of them, or so you thought. But here's the kicker. The no-mint mark variety is incredibly rare, and that's what makes it worth its weight in, well, $1 million. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, so you might be wondering, what's the big deal? Here's the twist. This particular coin wasn't supposed to leave the mint. There was a production error, which made this batch stand out due to its flawless condition and unique characteristics. Collectors are losing their minds over it because it's like finding a four-leaf clover in the middle of the desert. How do you know if you've got the golden or copper ticket? First, grab a magnifying glass. No, seriously, go get one. I'll wait. Okay, now check the date. It should say 1994. Then look closely for any mint mark under the date. If there's a D or an S, sorry, you're out of luck. But if there's no mint mark at all, you might have something special. Flip the coin over and check the reverse side. Look for sharp details, crisp edges, and no visible wear. Why? Because condition is everything in the coin world. The better the condition, the higher the value. And if your penny passes all these tests, congratulations, you just hit the jackpot. You're probably thinking, okay, but why would anyone pay $1 million for a penny? Great question. It all comes down to rarity and demand. Coin collectors, or numismatists, if you want to sound fancy at your next dinner party, are willing to pay top dollar, or top million, for coins that are one of a kind. The 1994 no-mint mark penny checks all the boxes. It's rare, it's in high demand, and it has a fascinating backstory. It's like the Brad Pitt of pennies. Everyone wants it, and it's aging gracefully. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old jar of coins that had been sitting in my attic for, Oh, a couple of decades. I wasn't expecting much, just some loose change for a vending machine. But as I was sorting through them, I found a 1994 penny with no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Could this be the one? I rushed to a coin appraiser faster than you can say heads or tails. Long story short, it wasn't the $1 million penny, but hey, it was worth $50. Not bad for something I almost tossed in a Coinstar machine. So, there you have it, the 1994 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a tiny treasure with $1 million price tag. Now it's your turn. Go grab that jar of coins, rummage through your pocket change, and see if you've been sitting on a fortune. Who knows? You might be the next lucky collector to cash in big time. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Here on this channel, we're all about uncovering hidden treasures, from valuable coins to everyday items that could make you rich. And hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or have a cool story to share. I'd love to hear it. You're rifling through your loose change, probably to buy coffee. Let's be honest, and boom, you spot a penny. Nothing special, right? Or is it? Today, we're talking about one of the rarest pennies in U.S. history, the 1976 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard that right. A humble little penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.10 million. Stick around because I'm going to break down the mystery behind this legendary coin, its crazy high value, and how you can start checking your change for treasures like this. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. You might be sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it. So, let's dive in. First off, what's the deal with this 1976 no-mint mark penny? If you're new to coin collecting, here's a quick lesson. U.S. coins typically have a tiny letter stamped on them to indicate where they were minted. D for Denver, P for Philadelphia, and so on. But here's where it gets spicy. The 1976 penny in question was minted in Philadelphia, and for some mysterious reason, it doesn't have a mint mark. Now, why does this make it so valuable? Well, the lack of a mint mark wasn't supposed to happen. It's what collectors call an error coin. And error coins are like the celebrity A-listers of the coin world. Everybody wants them, and they're ridiculously rare. This particular penny is so rare that only a handful are known to exist. And one of those recently sold for, you guessed it, $1.1 million. Alright, let's break down why someone would shell out over $1 million for something most of us would toss in a tip jar. In the coin world, rarity equals value. Think of it like Pokemon cards or Beanie Babies, except way cooler and actually worth something decades later. This coin isn't just an accident, it's a tiny piece of U.S. history, condition. The one that sold for $1.1 million was in near-perfect condition, graded as a mess, 65. That's basically the coin equivalent of a flawless diamond. Alright, I know what you're thinking. Do I have one of these $1 million pennies hiding in my couch cushions? Well, here's how to check. 1976 is your magic number. Flip the coin over and check under the date. If there's no little p, you might have struck gold, or, well, copper. Condition. Be honest. If your penny looks like it's, let me tell you about the time I almost ignored a valuable coin. A few years ago, I found an old penny in my dad's toolbox. It was dusty, scratched, and honestly looked like it had been through a blender. I almost tossed it, but something told me to check it out. Turns out, it was a 1914 D-wheat penny worth a cool $150. Now, it's no $1.1 million, but hey, that's a lot of coffee money. So, take it from me, never underestimate your loose change. Alright folks, here's the takeaway. The 1976 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a treasure hiding in plain sight. Next time you're digging through your change jar or paying for parking, take a closer look. Who knows? You might just be holding a $1 million coin. Before you head off to raid your piggy bank, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips, stories, and strategies to help you uncover coins worth serious cash. And hey, if you found a rare coin or have a cool coin story, drop it in the comments. Let's geek out together. Thanks for watching and happy hunting, my fellow coin detectives. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the coins jingling in your pocket or that jar sitting on your kitchen counter? Probably never, right? Well, let me blow your mind. There's a 1985 D. Lincoln penny out there worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. That's right. Just one measly penny could turn you into a millionaire. Crazy, isn't it? Stick around, and I'll tell you everything you need to know about this coin, why it's worth so much, and who knows, maybe you'll find one hiding in plain sight. And yes, I'll throw in a few laughs to keep you entertained. All right, let's dive into the nitty-gritty of this magical 1985 D. Lincoln penny. First, let me explain the basics. The D on the coin stands for the Denver Mint, where this penny was made. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, but what makes this one so special? Glad you asked. This penny isn't just any ordinary coin. It's a minting error, a one-of-a-kind mistake, and collectors go absolutely bonkers for rare errors like this. Here's the juicy part. The error in this coin involves a misaligned die. That means during production, something went wrong with the stamping process, resulting in a double-struck image that looks slightly blurred or doubled. Think of it like a coin with a hangover. But instead of regretting its life choices, this penny skyrocketed in value. Now, let me make this relatable. Remember that time you found $5 in the pocket of your jeans and felt like you'd won the lottery? Multiply that feeling by 1,000,000. That's what it's like for coin collectors when they stumble upon a rarity like this. And here's where it gets even crazier. The most recent sale of this 1985 D. Lincoln penny fetched $1.2 million at an auction. $1.2 million for a penny. Imagine paying off your mortgage or buying a dream car with a coin you could have tossed into a vending machine for a Snickers bar. Mind-blowing, right? Now, I have to tell you about the time I thought I struck it rich with a penny. It was a chilly Sunday morning, and I was going through an old box of coins my grandpa gave me. I found a shiny penny with an unusual mark. My heart raced faster than a kid running to an ice cream truck. I Googled like a maniac and even called a coin shop, only to find out it was a smudge of dried ketchup. Yep, ketchup. That was my big, almost millionaire moment. But hey, it gave me a funny story to tell, and now I'm here to help you avoid that heartbreak. Okay, so here's how to check your pennies like a pro. First, grab a magnifying glass or even use the zoom feature on your phone camera. Look closely at the 1985 date and the D mint mark. If you notice any doubling, misalignment, or odd marks, you might have something special. Another clue? A slightly thicker rim or uneven edges. But remember, not every weird-looking penny is a jackpot. Some imperfections are just signs of wear and tear. That's why it's crucial to get your coin authenticated by a professional. You can take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. These guys are like the CSI of coins. They'll confirm if you've got the real deal. And hey, don't forget to check your piggy banks, old wallets, or even your couch cushions. Who knows? That 1985 D penny could be hiding in plain sight. All right, folks, there you have it. The incredible story of the 1985 D. Lincoln penny worth $1.2 million. It's proof that even the tiniest things can hold enormous value, and you never know what treasures might be right under your nose or in your pocket. Start checking your change. Share this video with a friend who might need a little push to go treasure hunting, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button. I'll be dropping more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you uncover coins worth serious money. Who knows? The next time we talk, you might be telling me your $1,000,000 penny story. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts. You're sorting through your pocket change. Nothing special, right? But then, bam, you spot a penny that could be worth, wait for it, $1.30 million. That's right, a single penny. And not just any penny, folks. We're talking about the 1981 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? Well, grab your magnifying glasses and let's dive into the incredible story of how a humble 1-cent coin can be worth more than a mansion. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be raiding your piggy bank and checking every coin jar in your house. Let's get to it. Okay, first off, let's break this down. In 1981, the U.S. Mint was cranking out pennies like crazy. Most of these were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, and they got their little mint marks, P, D, or S. But here's where it gets spicy. Some Philadelphia pennies didn't get a mint mark. Now, that wasn't unusual for the time because Philly coins often skipped the mint mark. So, What's so special about this particular penny? The magic lies in its rarity and condition. Out of the billions of pennies minted, only a few 1981 no-mint mark pennies were struck on experimental copper zinc planchets instead of the standard copper ones. These special planchets made the coins lighter and shinier. Most of these experimental coins were pulled out of circulation, but a handful slipped through the cracks. And that, my friends, is where the legend of the $1.3 million penny begins. Let me hit you with some coin collecting logic. Rarity equals money. It's like finding an original pair of Air Jordans from 1985 in pristine condition, except it's a penny. The coin market is wild, and collectors will pay top dollar for unique pieces like this. Combine that with a bidding war at an auction, and voila, you've got a $1.3 million coin. Condition is everything. If your 1981 penny looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, sorry, but it's not going to make you a millionaire. Coins need to be in mint or near mint condition, with little to no wear, to fetch top dollar. Think of it like trying to sell a vintage car. You can't show up with a rust bucket and expect to make bank. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost thought I'd hit the jackpot with a penny. It was a rainy Saturday afternoon, and I was bored out of my mind. So, I decided to sort through my old coin jar. You know, the one that's been sitting on the kitchen counter for years. Lo and behold, I found a shiny 1981 penny. No mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be the one? I raced to my laptop, Googled the details, and even used a magnifying glass to inspect it. Turns out, it was just a regular penny. Talk about crushing disappointment. But hey, now I'm hooked on coin hunting, and I've learned a ton about spotting valuable coins. Check under the date. If there's no mint mark, you're on the right track. Wait. Use a digital scale. The experimental copper zinc planchet pennies weigh slightly less than regular ones, around 2.5 grams. Condition. Look for a penny with no scratches, dents, or discoloration. The shinier, the better. Professional grading. If you think you've found the real deal, get it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm its authenticity and value. All right, folks, there you have it. The wild world of the 1981 no-mint mark penny. Who knew a little copper coin could be worth more than a Lamborghini? So, the next time you're digging through your change, don't just toss those pennies aside. You could be holding a fortune in your hands. And before you go, here's my challenge to you. Check your coins today. You never know. Your next Starbucks run could turn into a life-changing discovery. If you found this video helpful, funny, or just plain entertaining, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on more tips and stories about coins worth money. You're digging through your pocket change, maybe looking for vending machine quarters, or trying to scrape together some lunch money, and suddenly, you spot a penny. Just a regular old Lincoln penny, right? Wrong. Because what if I told you that one of those little brown discs from 1993 could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million today? Yeah, you heard that right. $1 million for a penny. That's more zeros than any penny should ever be responsible for. We're diving into the story of the 1993 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Why is it so special? How can you tell if you have one? And more importantly, how can you turn that penny into a life-changing jackpot? Stick around, because this is going to be a coin adventure you don't want to miss. Let's start with the basics. Most pennies minted in 1993 were made in Philadelphia, but here's the kicker. These coins didn't carry the famous P mint mark. For most years, that's no big deal. But in 1993, there was an ultra-rare batch of pennies that accidentally got a little special treatment. Rumor has it that these coins were struck on high-quality planchets normally reserved for collector's items. So, what's the deal with this no-mint mark penny? Only a handful of these coins exist. We're talking single digits here, folks. It's like finding a unicorn in your sock drawer. These pennies are graded as MS, 69 or higher. Translation. They're basically flawless. If your penny looks like it's been through the washing machine 5 times, sorry, it's not the one. Anytime a coin is this rare, collectors go bananas. It's like having a piece of history that no one else can brag about. Now, before you sprint to your change jar, let me hit you with a quick checklist. How do you know if you've hit the penny jackpot? First, check for the absence of a mint mark under the date. Next, make sure the coin is from 1993. If it says 1992 or 1994, close but no cigar. Finally, look at the condition. If it's shiny enough to blind you in direct sunlight, you might be onto something. Let me share a little story. A few years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. Amid the chaos of dusty baseball cards and a weird collection of vintage lunchboxes, we stumbled across an old coffee can filled with coins. Now, my uncle isn't exactly a coin expert, but I could see his eyes light up when I mentioned the value of rare pennies. Spoiler alert. We didn't find $1 million penny that day, but we did find a 1943 steel penny worth $50. Moral of the story? Don't underestimate those forgotten coin jars. They might just hold your ticket to early retirement. All right, my fellow coin hunters, we've covered a lot today. The 1993 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is the ultimate hidden treasure, a tiny copper disc that could change your life forever. But remember, finding one isn't just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for and keeping your eyes peeled. So, what's your next step? Go check your pockets, your piggy banks, and that weird jar of coins in the back of your closet. Who knows? You might be sitting on $1 million penny and not even know it. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Here on this channel, we talk about coins worth money, tips for identifying valuable collectibles, and strategies to turn your change into real change. So join the community, and let's keep hunting for hidden treasures together. Thanks for watching and happy collecting. You're rummaging through an old jar of pennies, hoping to scrape together enough for a cup of coffee and BAM. You stumble upon a little copper gem that could be worth, drumroll, please, $3 million. Yes, we're talking about the mysterious, elusive, and downright legendary 2006 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, stick around because today, we're diving into the fascinating world of coin collecting to uncover why this penny is turning heads and emptying bank accounts. So, what's the big deal with this penny? Let's break it down. First things first, the 2006 Abraham Lincoln penny is a fairly common coin, minted in the billions. But the key here is the no mint mark. That's right, no little D for Denver or S for San Francisco, just a plain OL penny. Not every 2006 penny without a mint mark is worth millions. The high dollar coin we're talking about is an incredibly rare error coin, possibly a test strike or a misprint. It's the kind of happy accident that coin collectors drool over. Here's where it gets juicy. Back in 2015, a collector bought one of these for a cool $10,000. Fast forward to today, and that same coin, or one just like it, was appraised at $3 million. Yes, you heard me. A penny is now worth more than most houses. I don't know about you, but suddenly, my jar of change is looking a lot more interesting. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at my grandma's house, helping her clean out some old boxes. She had this gigantic jar of pennies, like, we're talking, I haven't touched this since 1975 big. Being the nosy person I am, I decided to sift through it. And you know what I found? A 1982 penny with a double die error. It wasn't worth millions, but it sold for $75. That's dinner for two at a nice restaurant, all from a penny. Ever since then, I've been hooked on checking my change. It's like playing the lottery, but the ticket only costs a cent. So, if you're one of those people who says, it's just a penny, think again. All right, let's get into how to spot this elusive coin. This is the obvious one. Look just under the year on the coin. If there's no letter, you might have something special. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition are worth more. Think shiny and flawless. Look closely for any unusual features, like doubling, misalignment, or other irregularities. If you think you've hit the jackpot, don't keep it to yourself. Have it appraised by a reputable coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. And hey, even if your coin doesn't turn out to be worth millions, you've still got a pretty cool story to tell. Plus, you've officially joined the ranks of amateur treasure hunters. Welcome to the club. Now, let's be real. How many of you are already dumping your piggy banks onto the kitchen table? It's okay, no judgment here. Just remember, if your partner asks why you're examining pennies with a magnifying glass, you can confidently say, I'm securing our financial future. So, what's the takeaway here? Don't underestimate the power of a penny. That little copper coin in your pocket might just change your life, or at least buy you a new car. Now, before you dash off to check your change jar, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin enthusiasts. I post weekly tips on spotting rare coins, maximizing their value, and all the strategies you need to turn your spare change into serious cash. And hey, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. They might have a treasure hiding in plain sight too. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts. You're rifling through your pocket change, grabbing a soda, or maybe paying for parking, and bam, you've got a penny in your hand. But not just any penny, a plain, unassuming 1987 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. Seems boring, right? Wrong. What if I told you this little copper treasure could be worth $1.50 million? Yes, you heard me right. $1 million for a penny. Intrigued? Stick around, because today we're diving into the world of this legendary coin. I'll explain the mystery, the value, and whether you should start rating your couch cushions. Alright, let's start with the basics. A 1987 penny without a mint mark might look like any ordinary coin. But here's the deal. The lack of a mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia. Most people think, no mint mark? Big whoop. That's normal. And yes, it is. But for one very specific batch of these pennies, something extraordinary happened. There's a rumor. No, let's call it a legend, that a small number of these pennies were struck with an incredibly rare error or unique feature. Whether it's an off-metal strike, a double die, or something else entirely, these coins are making waves in the collector community. And one of them? It recently sold for $1.5 million at auction. That's the kind of money that can buy you a mansion or, I don't know, a lifetime supply of pizza. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone pay that much for a penny? Great question. Coin collectors, or numismatists, value rarity, condition, and unique features. It's like Pokemon cards for grown-ups. If a coin has a rare error or is in pristine condition after decades, it becomes a coveted piece of history. And here's where it gets funny. When I first heard about this, I thought, yeah, sure, I'll find one in my spare change. I grabbed a magnifying glass, dumped a jar of pennies on the table, and went full detective mode. Spoiler alert. I didn't find a $1 million penny, but I did find one that had gum stuck to it from the 90s. My treasure hunt became a sticky situation real fast. But don't let my bad luck discourage you. Coins like this do exist. The key is knowing what to look for. With a 1987 no-mint mark penny, focus on its condition. Mint state or proof-like coins are worth more, and any unusual features. If you think you've got a winner, get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. So, there you have it. Everything you need to know about the 1987 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny and why it's got collectors shelling out millions. Who knew a humble penny could have such a glamorous side? If nothing else, this is your reminder to check your change. You never know. Your next cup of coffee might come with $1 million surprise. Now, here's the deal. If you found this video helpful, entertaining, or even just mildly amusing, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips, stories, and strategies to help you uncover coins worth serious money. Turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to learn about hidden treasures. What if I told you that a humble penny sitting in your pocket could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million? That's right, today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1980 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This isn't your average coin. It's a tiny piece of history hiding in plain sight. So grab your change jar and settle in, because you might be richer than you think. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of why this penny is worth more than some houses, let me share a quick story. Years ago, I found a weird penny in my car's cup holder. It was grimy and didn't look special, but I thought, hey, what if it's one of those rare coins? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But that moment sparked my obsession with coin collecting. If I could turn my cup holder disappointment into a hobby, maybe this penny could turn your luck around. What makes the 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny so special? Let's start with the basics. This penny looks like any other Lincoln penny. Good OL, honest Abe staring off into the distance. But here's the kicker. It has no mint mark. For those new to the coin game, a mint mark is a little letter on the coin that tells you where it was made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. The 1980 Lincoln penny, however, was accidentally minted without any mark. It was produced in Philadelphia, but someone forgot to stamp it with the iconic P. Big deal, it's just a missing letter. But in the coin world, rarity equals value. And this penny? It's a unicorn. Only a handful of these no-mint mark pennies made it out into circulation, which is why collectors go bananas over them. Here's the juicy part. The 1980 no-mint mark penny isn't just rare, it's in demand. Wealthy collectors and auction houses are willing to shell out big bucks for coins like this. In fact, one of these pennies was sold at auction for $1.6 million. Imagine paying for a soda with a penny, only to find out later it was worth more than a Ferrari. That's the kind of story that keeps me up at night. But it's not just about the rarity. The coin's condition plays a huge role. If you've got one of these pennies and it's in mint state, meaning it's practically flawless, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Alright, here's where you get to play treasure hunter. Grab your loose change and start looking for these key details. The year 1980.no mint mark under the year. A clean, unblemished surface. The shinier, the better. If you find one, don't start celebrating just yet. Take it to a professional coin grader to confirm its authenticity. And hey, don't go rubbing it for luck. It might lose value. Let me tell you about the time I thought I hit the jackpot. I found a shiny 1980 penny with no mint mark. I was ecstatic. I rushed to a local coin shop only to have the expert burst my bubble. Turns out, it was just a common Philadelphia penny. No big payday for me. But hey, at least I got a funny story out of it. The moral of the tale? Not every coin is a treasure, but the thrill of the hunt makes it all worthwhile. There you have it. The fascinating tale of the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.6 million. Who knew a simple penny could turn into a millionaire maker? Whether you're a seasoned collector or just curious, it's always worth checking your change. And now, here's my challenge for you. Go dig through your couch cushions, car cup holders, and old piggy banks. Who knows? You might just strike gold or copper in this case. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you money. Let's turn your spare change into a fortune, one penny at a time. Did you ever think a penny could be worth more than a fancy dinner out or even a brand new smartphone? Well, buckle up because we're about to dive into the world of rare coins, and trust me, it's a wild ride. Today, we're talking about the 2006 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that can fetch a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A penny, worth $1 million. Makes you want to dig through your change jar, doesn't it? Well, before you get too carried away and start emptying your pockets, let's break down what makes this coin so special. Alright, let's rewind to 2006. You were probably worried about your flip phone's battery dying while you tried to text your friends, or maybe you were fighting over the last bag of chips during a 24-hour marathon of Friends reruns. While all of this was going on, the US Mint was cranking out billions of pennies, including the famous 2006 mint mark Lincoln cent. To the average person, it's just another penny that's worth, well, a penny. But to collectors and coin experts, this one's got something that makes it worth more than just a tiny copper nugget. So, what's the deal with the 2006 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny? Well, in 2006, the Mint began a special series of pennies, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the original Lincoln cent design. These coins were part of a plan to mark the 16th president's legacy, but it wasn't just any old coin toss. They mixed things up by making a few changes to the design and minting process. The real magic happens when you find a 2006 penny that is in mint condition, especially one with an error or a unique characteristic that a collector finds rare. Now, imagine this. You're standing at a yard sale, just casually browsing for some old lamps or that vintage record player you didn't need but really wanted. You're looking through a box of old pennies and then, bam, there it is. A 2006 mint mark Lincoln penny that just looks different. It's got this beautiful shine, no wear and tear, and you feel it. Something's off. This is no ordinary penny. It might even have a rare error or an amazing feature that no one else noticed. This could be your ticket to turning that penny into a small fortune. If you're lucky enough to have one of these beauties, you could potentially sell it for a hefty sum. one that could rival the cost of a brand new car. In fact, some of these coins have been auctioned off for as much as $1.7 million. That's right, $1.7 million for a penny. Imagine buying a cup of coffee for $3 and then selling your penny for that kind of cash. I'm not saying go all in and start hoarding pennies, but keep your eyes peeled. The thing is, it's not just about having the coin. It's about having the right coin in the right condition. If your penny's got that mini freshness, no scratches, and the errors or variations that make it special, it could make you some serious cash. On the flip side, if it's been sitting at the bottom of your pocket for years, well, it's probably just worth 1 cent. But hey, don't give up hope yet. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, just casually browsing the tables of old junk people were trying to sell. I found this jar of loose pennies for $1 and thought, why not? As I was flipping through them, I noticed one penny looked a little different. It had this almost shiny appearance. I didn't think much of it at first, but something told me it wasn't your average penny. So, I held on to it, did a little research when I got home, and turns out, it was a rare 1998 penny with a tiny error in the minting. It wasn't worth $1 million, but it was worth more than I thought. It ended up being worth a couple $100. Now, I'm not saying you'll strike gold at every flea market or garage sale, but it's a reminder to never underestimate the power of doing a little research and keeping an eye out for something that seems just a little too special. So, here's the takeaway. Not all 2006 D Mint Mark pennies are worth a fortune, but if you find one in amazing condition or with a special error, you could be sitting on a mini treasure. I'm talking about the kind of treasure that could help pay off a vacation, buy a new phone, or, if you're really lucky, put you in the millionaire club with a $1.7 million penny. But remember, coin collecting isn't just about the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt and learning about the history behind each coin. It's like a giant scavenger hunt that could lead to some seriously cool finds. If you want more tips, tricks, and insider strategies on how to find coins worth real money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. You won't want to miss the next big coin find or the next tip that could turn your pocket change into a gold mine. You find a penny in your couch cushions. You think, hey, it's just a penny. No big deal, right? But wait, what if I told you that one of those pennies, a 1986 Lincoln penny, could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million? That's right, not a typo, $1.8 million. Now, don't go running off to dig through your junk drawer just yet. I'm here to break down the mystery of the elusive 1986 no-mint mark penny and how you might just be sitting on a small fortune. Today, we're diving deep into this coin's backstory, its potential value, and of course, I'll share a personal experience of mine that'll hopefully have you laughing, and maybe even a little bit more hopeful about your own coin collection. So, buckle up and get ready to learn about a penny that could make you a millionaire. But before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because you'll want to stick around for more insider tips on coins that could be worth more than you think. Okay, let's break it down. We all know the Lincoln penny, right? It's been around for ages, and it's got that familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front. But here's where it gets interesting. Most pennies have a mint mark, usually located right under the date, either an S for San Francisco or a D for Denver. But in 1986, a rare anomaly happened. Some of the pennies were made without any mint mark at all. And guess what? Those pennies are the ones that could be worth $1.8 million today. Now, before you get too excited and rush to check your pocket change, let me tell you, these pennies are not easy to find. The 1986 no-mint mark penny is so rare that it's become the holy grail for coin collectors and investors alike. It's so rare, in fact, that its current market value is estimated at a whopping $1.8 million. Can you imagine? Now, let me take you back in time to 1986. The US Mint was working overtime trying to keep up with coin production, and somehow, a small batch of Lincoln pennies was struck with no mint mark at all. Now, the big question is, was this a mistake? A fluke? Or was it something more? We'll never know for sure, but what we do know is that these coins are super rare. In fact, it's believed that only a handful of these 1986 no-mint mark pennies still exist today. It's kind of like when you find that rare Pokemon card you've been searching for all your life. Except, instead of a Pikachu, you get a tiny, humble penny that could change your financial future. Talk about a win, right? So, why is this penny worth so much? Well, the rarity factor plays a huge role. Collectors go absolutely bonkers for rare coins like this, and the 1986 no mint mark penny checks all the boxes. You've got rarity, historical significance, and that sweet potential for a big payout. The other thing that makes it so valuable is the condition it's in. Like any collectible, the better the condition, the higher the value. A mint condition penny could be worth even more than $1.80 million. If you find one of these pennies in your collection, get it evaluated and certified by a professional, because the difference between a regular penny and a high-value coin could be huge. Now, let me tell you a little story about my own coin-searching experience. I was at a flea market one Saturday morning, just minding my own business, when I stumbled upon a box of old coins. The seller said, "Take a look. Maybe you'll find something cool." So, I started flipping through them. No mint mark pennies, a few worn-out quarters, and then, bam! There it was. An old, tarnished nickel from 1940. I thought, probably worth a couple bucks. But here's where the story gets fun. I took that nickel to a coin appraiser who was kind enough to give me a quick glance. And to my surprise, he told me it was a rare variety that could fetch over $1,000 if in perfect condition. I didn't sell it, I know, hindsight, right? But it taught me a valuable lesson. Always take a second look at your coins because you never know when you might stumble upon a hidden gem. And that, my friends, brings us back to the 1986 no mint mark penny. It's not just about finding a penny. It's about finding the right penny. So, here's the deal. If you happen to find a 1986 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you could be holding on to a small fortune. But before you get too excited and start digging through every penny you have, remember, these pennies are rare and not every 1986 penny is going to be worth millions. But hey, you never know. Maybe one of your spare change finds will turn into your own personal treasure. Now, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1986 no mint mark penny, I bet you'll want to hear about other coins that could be worth a pretty penny. See what I did there? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you never miss another coin tip, treasure hunt, or fun story from my personal collection. Who knows, you might just be the next person to find the next big thing in your wallet. Hold on to your wallets, because today, we're talking about something that'll make you look at your change a little differently. I bet you've heard of rare coins before, but let me tell you about one you probably didn't expect. A coin that could be sitting in your pocket right now, and it's worth, drumroll please, a whopping $1.9 million. Yep, you heard me right, $1.9 million. And it's not some ancient, dusty gold coin either. It's a simple 1989 penny, but not just any penny. A no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sound like a good reason to check your piggy bank, right? Stick around because this story is about to get even more interesting. Okay, let's dive in. So, you might be wondering, what the heck is a no mint mark penny? And how does a simple penny become worth so much? Well, here's the scoop. In 1989, the US Mint accidentally left off the mint mark, the little D or S, from some pennies. Normally, pennies made in Denver have a D, and those from San Francisco have an S. But some 1989 pennies were made with no mint mark at all. At first, people thought, it's just a mistake. But oh boy, that mistake turned into a rare find that collectors are going absolutely crazy over. You see, these mint marks are used to identify where the coin was produced, and they help make sure we know if something's rare or not. When the mint mark was left off, it made these pennies stand out. So, if you find one of these bad boys, you've got yourself a collector's dream. Now, you might be thinking, okay, cool. So, maybe I have one of these rare pennies in my change jar. Well, before you start Googling 1989 no mint mark penny worth, here's the catch. These coins are rare. We're talking fewer than 10 of them ever turning up in the market. It's like finding a needle in a haystack that's already covered in hay, and then someone wraps the haystack in a rare collector sheet of bubble wrap. You get the idea. And by the way, I tried checking my own coin collection when I first heard about this penny. I thought, hey, I've got a ton of old pennies laying around. Maybe I'll get lucky. But nope. Turns out, the one I had was just your average, everyday penny. I almost thought about listing it for sale online for $1 million just to see what would happen. but I figured I'd need more than wishful thinking. So, here's the deal. If you have an actual 1989 no mint mark penny, it could be worth up to $1.9 million. Let me repeat that for the folks in the back. $1.9 million. That's enough to pay off some serious bills, take that dream vacation, or maybe finally buy that giant inflatable unicorn you've always wanted. Who knows, maybe you'll end up on an episode of How It's Made. Today, we're visiting someone who found a 1989 no mint mark penny worth almost $2 million. Now, I know you're probably wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these magical coins? Well, it's pretty simple. Look at your 1989 pennies carefully. Check the edge where the mint mark would normally be. If it's blank, it could be one of the elusive no mint mark coins. But don't get too excited yet. You still need to make sure it's not just a regular penny that's worn out over time or a counterfeit coin that someone's trying to pass off. If you're not sure, you might want to get it authenticated by a professional grader. It'll cost you a bit, but it could be well worth it if you're holding on to a fortune. And hey, even if your penny doesn't turn out to be worth millions, don't worry. It's not the end of the world. Some pennies, even those from the 1950s, 1960s, or 1970s, can still have some surprising value. So, keep an eye out. You never know when a humble coin could suddenly become your ticket to a big payday. So, there you have it. Your 1989 no mint mark penny could be worth a mind-blowing $1.9 million if you're lucky enough to find one. But whether or not you strike it rich today, just remember that there are always valuable coins out there waiting to be discovered. And who knows? Your next coin could be the one that turns your collection into a small fortune. If you learned something new today, or just had fun imagining what you'd do with $1.9 million, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another video. I've got plenty more tips and coin strategies to help you spot valuable treasures in your spare change. Trust me, you'll want to be the first one to know when your coins could be worth a lot more than you think. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, keep looking at those pennies. You never know when one might make you a millionaire. Imagine you've got a penny in your pocket. You know, the one that's been sitting there for who knows how long. Maybe you've even considered tossing it out. Well, hold on before you make that decision. What if I told you that this penny could be worth, drumroll please, $2 million? Sounds like the beginning of some crazy fantasy, right? Well, it's not. Stick with me because in this video, we're diving into the mind-blowing world of the 2001 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And trust me, you'll want to keep your eyes peeled on every coin in your collection after you hear this. Host winks and picks up a penny from the table, giving it a playful twirl. Okay, let's talk about this 2001 penny. On the surface, it might look like, well, just another penny. You know, those copper-colored coins that are more likely to end up in your couch cushions than in your bank account. But here's where it gets wild. If you've got a 2001 penny that's missing the mint mark, you're holding on to something that could be worth a lot of money. We're talking a whole lot, like up to $2 million. Yep, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin could potentially be worth $2 million. It's like finding a winning lottery ticket, but instead of scratching it, you're looking through your pocket change. Now, you might be thinking, what on earth makes this penny so special? Well, sit tight because I'm about to break it down. First, let's get into the basics. Most pennies are minted in either Philadelphia or Denver. You can tell where they were minted by looking at the little mint mark on the reverse side of the coin, right under the date. But in 2001, there was a very limited batch of pennies that were, wait for it, missing the mint mark. These are often referred to as the 2001 no mint mark pennies. So, why does a missing mint mark make it so valuable? Well, it turns out that these pennies were the result of a major minting error. The U.S. Mint, for reasons that no one seems to fully understand, forgot to add the mint mark to some of the coins in their batch. And just like that, you've got a rarity. You know what they say, rare equals valuable. And that's exactly why these no mint mark pennies are worth so much. Imagine you're flipping through a box of pennies in your garage, and you come across this little guy. You think, probably just another penny. And then you check and, boom, it's missing the mint mark. Now you're holding a collector's dream. You send it off to be graded, and if it's in great condition, that coin could easily fetch you up to $2 million at auction. 2 million. That's a whole lot of pizza for the rest of your life. Am I right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'd be doing a happy dance with that kind of cash. And it's not just the 2001 penny either. There are a ton of coins out there, like the 1943 copper penny or the 1914 D-wheat penny, that could send your bank account through the roof. But let's stay focused on this little gem. Now, I'm not saying you should go rummaging through every pile of change you find, but if you've got a penny from 2001 sitting around, it's definitely worth checking to see if it has that mint mark. If it's missing it, that's a golden ticket right there. You could be sitting on a small fortune, my friend. Here's a funny story from my own life. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out an old desk drawer when I found a bunch of loose change. You know the kind, tossed in there and forgotten about. I almost tossed it all into the coin jar, but then I remembered something I'd heard about rare coins. So I started sorting through, just casually glancing at the dates. I found a couple of 1950s pennies and thought, hey, maybe these are worth something. Turns out, they weren't. But guess what? One of those pennies was actually a 2001. And guess what else? It had the mint mark. Still worth about a penny, though. But hey, it was a good lesson to double-check, right? You never know when you'll find a treasure. So, if you take away anything from this video, it's this. Keep your eyes peeled. That little coin in your pocket might just be more valuable than you think. Maybe not every penny is a $1 million jackpot, but you never know. And now, you're armed with the knowledge to check your collection and maybe even strike it rich. If you love this coin tip, and let's be honest, who doesn't love finding out they could be rich from a penny? Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and insider strategies for finding coins that are worth big bucks. I'll be diving into more hidden treasures in the world of coin collecting, so don't miss out. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin, share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, those pennies might be worth more than you think, so keep looking. You're flipping through your old coins. Maybe you just found a penny under your couch cushion, or you're going through a jar of loose change and then, BM, you find something that could make you $2.1 million richer. Sounds crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what happened with a 1978 penny, and I'm about to tell you how that little coin went from pocket change to priceless treasure. Stick around, because I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll be checking every coin you own. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's talk about the famous 1978 penny with no mint mark. Now, before we start getting into how a penny can be worth more than a gold brick, let's break this down. Most of us know that pennies come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and usually, they're worth exactly 1 cent. But every once in a while, there's that one coin that slips through the cracks, or in this case, a huge mistake made by the US Mint that has collectors freaking out. Now, here's where it gets wild. You see, the 1978 penny was actually supposed to have a mint mark on it. If you don't know what that is, it's a little letter stamped onto the coin that tells you where it was made, like D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia. But here's the kicker. A tiny batch of 1978 pennies were produced without any mint mark at all. And that, folks, is where the magic happens. You're probably thinking, okay, but it's just a penny, right? Well, that's where you'd be wrong. Because of this little minting mistake, a small group of those 1978 pennies has skyrocketed in value. Get this, one of these mint markless pennies sold for $2.1 million. Yep, you heard that right. A freaking penny worth over 2 million bucks. Imagine that. You could probably buy a house, a car, and still have enough left over to buy, well, a whole lot of penny candy. So, what makes this penny so special? Well, let's break it down. Coin collectors are known for being very particular. They love anything that's rare, unusual, or, in this case, a result of an honest mistake. This penny's rarity comes from the fact that it was made with no mint mark, and it's one of only a few known to exist. That mistake creates the kind of demand that sends the value through the roof. How do I know if my 1978 penny is worth millions? Well, here's the deal. First, check it out for any mint mark. It should be under the year on the coin. No mint mark? Bingo. But here's the kicker. Most of these coins don't even look that special at first glance. That means you can't just judge a penny by its face value. You gotta check it out under a magnifying glass, or better yet, take it to a professional coin grader to see if it's a rare gem. Now, let me hit you with a little personal story. A couple of years ago, I found an old penny in my dad's coin jar. I almost threw it out because I thought it was just some corroded piece of junk. It looked like it had been to hell and back, but something told me to hang on to it. I took it to a local coin shop, and guess what? It was a 1955 double die, a rare error penny that's worth a couple $100 in good condition. So, moral of the story, never, ever throw away a penny without checking it out first. You just never know what you've got hiding in that pile of change. Seriously, folks, after that experience, I started going through every coin I owned with the eye of a treasure hunter. I even started checking the change I get from the coffee shop. I may not have found a $2.1 million penny yet, but hey, you don't know until you look. If you come across a 1978 penny with no mint mark, don't just toss it in a jar. You could be sitting on a small fortune. And if you think you've got a rare coin but you're not sure, get it checked out. It might be worth more than you think. That's how the 1978 no mint mark penny went from being a forgotten error to a world record-breaking coin. Now, if you enjoyed hearing about this crazy coin story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you're going to want to stay tuned for more tips, tricks, and tales of coins that are worth way more than you thought. Who knows? The next video might just be the one that helps you find a treasure in your own collection. So, you've probably got a ton of pennies scattered around your house, right? Maybe in the couch cushions, the bottom of your purse, or in a jar you keep meaning to take to Coinstar but never do. But what if I told you that one of those seemingly insignificant pennies could actually be worth a small fortune? Yes, I'm talking about a 1988 penny that's currently valued at a staggering $2.20 million. No, that's not a typo. $2.2 million. So, if you're sitting on a bunch of pennies from 1988, you might want to stop scrolling and pay attention. This could change your life. Or at least, give you a reason to check your piggy bank. Now, before we get too excited, let me give you the lowdown on this mystery penny. Normally, a 1988 penny, like most modern pennies, is worth, well, a penny. It's made of copper-plated zinc, weighs 2.5 grams, and doesn't exactly scream treasure. However, in 1988, there was a rare error that left a few pennies without the mint mark, the little D or S that usually tells you where they were made. For most of us, mint marks are a part of coin collecting 101, but for some reason, a few pennies slip through the cracks. So, why is this so important? Well, it turns out that coins without mint marks are a big deal in the world of numismatics. Yes, that's the fancy term for coin collecting. People go wild for errors like this because they're so rare. Think of it like finding an uncut diamond in a pile of rocks. You can almost hear the cha-ching sound in your head as you realize just how valuable that mistake is. And I know what you're probably thinking. Okay, but how do I know if I have one of these rare, million-dollar beauties? Great question. First off, take a look at the date, 1988. Check. Next, flip the coin over. If there's no mint mark, congratulations. You've got yourself a potential jackpot. But don't start planning your vacation to the Bahamas just yet. This isn't the case for every 1988 penny. There are still plenty out there that are just regular old pennies. Now, what's the deal with this coin being worth $2.2 million? Well, one of these error pennies made headlines when it sold for that amount at a major auction. Crazy, right? But it wasn't just any 1988 penny. It was in pristine condition, practically flawless. The thing is, finding a 1988 penny in mint condition without a mint mark is incredibly rare. And because collectors are always looking for something unique, one of these error pennies sold for an astronomical price, proving that sometimes mistakes can pay off, literally. I'll be honest, when I first heard about this coin, I thought someone was pulling my leg. So I took a good look through my own penny jar, hoping to find my own million-dollar coin. But after sifting through a bunch of shiny pennies and some that were more corroded than my hopes and dreams, I came up empty-handed. I guess the lesson here is, don't expect your random change jar to make you a millionaire. But hey, it's worth checking. Alright, let's wrap this up. If you've got a 1988 penny sitting around with no mint mark, it's definitely worth checking out. Just don't expect to hit the $2.2 million jackpot right away. But even if it's not worth millions, you might still have something rare that could fetch a pretty penny. See what I did there? And even if you don't, it's always fun to learn about these hidden treasures, right? If you love hearing about rare coins, how to spot valuable collectibles, or just want to hear more stories about me sifting through piles of change, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and strategies for turning those pocket change discoveries into cold hard cash. So, don't leave me hanging. Subscribe now, and maybe one day, you'll be the one laughing all the way to the bank with a fortune in your pocket. All right, grab your change jar. Folks, we might just have a hidden gold mine right under your nose. What if I told you that the humble 1991 D Mint Mark penny, a coin you've probably tossed into the back of your couch or forgotten in your wallet, could be worth a whopping $2.3 million? No, this isn't a joke. Stick around because today, we're diving into the wild world of coin collecting, where pennies turn into jackpots. And by the end of this video, you might just be running to check your loose change. So, let's get into it. Okay, let's set the stage. You're standing at the counter, fumbling through your pockets, and you find that one penny that's just been there for years. You probably didn't even bother to look at it twice, right? We've all been there. But here's where the plot thickens. In the world of coin collectors, that little penny could be worth more than a lifetime of spare change. A penny? Really? Who even cares about pennies anymore? Well, my friend, pennies have a bit of a secret life. And the 1991 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is at the center of it all. The 1991 penny might look like the one in your pocket, but there's a very special version of it out there. One that's rare and, well, kind of famous. It's not your average penny, folks. Before we talk about how you can get your hands on one of these bad boys, let me tell you a funny story. A couple of years ago, I was in my local coffee shop. You know the place, where everyone has a reusable cup and acts way too hip for their own good. Anyway, I was sitting there sipping my overpriced coffee when I noticed something shiny on the ground near the door. At first, I thought it was just another random coin. But as I bent down to grab it, I realized it was a 1991 penny. And my first thought was, oh great, another penny. But that day, I got lucky. It was just a regular penny. But let me tell you, the excitement I felt was real. Who knew pennies could be so thrilling? But here's the kicker. If you had found the 1991 D Mint Mark penny with some specific errors, like a double die or some sort of minting issue, you could have been holding on to a small fortune. The ones that have these rare errors are selling for, wait for it, up to $2.3 million. I know. This sounds like a crazy game show, but stick with me here. So, what makes this penny so special, you ask? Well, it's all about the D Mint mark. That little letter on the coin's face indicates where it was made, in this case, Denver. But, and here's the juicy part, some 1991 D pennies were minted with an error where the die used to strike the coin was, let's say, a little more artistic than usual. Imagine you're at the factory, and someone just doesn't line up the die perfectly, and boom, you've got a rare version of a penny. In the coin world, these types of errors are what collectors drool over. It's like finding a misprint on a baseball card, or a one-of-a-kind piece of art in a thrift shop. There's just something irresistible about the rare stuff. But let's be real for a second. These 1991 D pennies with errors are extremely rare. We're talking about a needle in a haystack here, folks. So if you find one, you'll want to check it out with a professional, like a coin dealer or appraiser. Don't just assume that it's worth millions because it's from 1991, or you'll end up with a pile of pennies and no vacation to Hawaii. The current market for rare pennies has exploded. Thanks to online auctions and coin communities, people are discovering these hidden gems more often than you might think. And for those lucky enough to find a mint condition or error version of the 1991 D penny, the market can be incredibly rewarding. So, don't just toss your pennies into the jar. Start taking a closer look. The general value of a 1991 D penny is a few cents, basically, what you'd expect for any old coin. But if you have one with a minting error, you could see it go for hundreds, thousands, or even millions depending on the condition and rarity. So, make sure you're on the lookout for these rare pennies when you're out and about or checking your spare change. You never know what might be hiding in that pile of old coins. So, Now that you know the ins and outs of the 1991 D Mint Mark penny, don't go off thinking every penny you find is worth a fortune. But keep your eyes peeled. You never know when you might strike gold in your change jar or that random coin in the parking lot. And hey, if you like this video and want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for finding rare gems, or just a good old laugh about how we all miss out on hidden treasures, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Because let's face it, we could all use a little extra cash lying around. And who knows, you might just find the next $1 million penny in your pocket. All right, folks, that's it for today's coin adventure. Keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, one person's pocket change is another person's fortune. We're diving into a little piece of history that might just have you running to your change jar. I'm talking about the 1968 Lincoln penny, one that could be worth a whopping $2.4 million today. Yep, you heard me right, $2.4 million for a single penny. Sounds like a typo? Trust me, it's not. Stick around to find out how to spot this rare gem and maybe, just maybe, turn your spare change into a small fortune. All right, let's get this out of the way first. Most pennies are worth, well, 1 cent. But, as we all know, there are always exceptions to the rule. Now, if you're anything like me, you've probably found yourself mindlessly flipping through loose change in your couch cushions, thinking, I wonder if any of these pennies are worth more than a penny? The answer is yes. And today, we're talking about one particular penny that could change your life. The 1968 Lincoln penny is an anomaly in the world of coin collecting. Now, most 1968 pennies, as you can guess, are just, well, regular. Nothing special. But there's a rare variety of this coin that's worth big money. And no, it's not because it was part of some major historical event, or because it's a limited edition design. It's all about the minting process. See, this penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint, and there's a funny little quirk about the 1968 pennies. A small percentage of them were accidentally struck without the copper coating. These unplated pennies are the real treasures. If you're lucky enough to find one of these, you're holding onto a coin that could be worth up to $2.4 million. You might be thinking, what the heck is so special about an unplated penny? Coins like these are what we call mint errors. These are rare mistakes made during the minting process, and the rarer the error, the more valuable the coin. This particular 1968 penny was supposed to be coated with a thin layer of copper, but due to a mishap, some of them came out looking like just plain old metal underneath. And when something goes wrong at the mint, collectors want it. They really, really want it. Now, let's get into how you can actually spot this penny. It's not going to be glowing in the dark or anything, but here's what you should look for. First, check the year. If it's 1968 and has the mint mark, San Francisco, you're halfway there. Normally, a penny has a nice, coppery reddish-brown color. If your 1968 penny looks silver or has a dull metallic look to it, oh, you might be holding onto a piece of history. The unplated 1968 penny weighs less than the standard copper-coated pennies. The weight difference is subtle, but if you have a scale, it could make all the difference. How in the world do you know if it's worth $2.4 million? Well, first off, you probably won't be able to just take it to a coin shop and get a straight answer. This is where professional coin grading comes in. You'll want to send it to a trusted coin grading company, like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. They'll evaluate the penny's authenticity and condition. A certified error coin, especially in good condition, could fetch that $1 million price tag. But don't rush off to the bank with your pennies just yet. Finding one of these unplated gems is incredibly rare. But hey, every treasure hunter knows that sometimes, the more you search, the better your odds. That's why it's always worth taking a closer look at your pocket change, just in case. Let me share a little personal story. A few years ago, I was going through an old jar of coins I inherited from my grandmother. You know, the usual. Pennies, nickels, dimes, nothing too exciting. But one day, as I was sorting through them, I came across this one penny. It had a weird color to it, almost like someone had dipped it in silver paint. I was curious, but thought, nah, it's probably just worn down. Fast forward to me researching this penny and, wouldn't you know it, it was a rare 1943 steel penny. I didn't become a millionaire, but I did get a solid chunk of change for it when I sold it. Moral of the story? Never underestimate a penny. Alright, so there you have it. If you come across a 1968 penny that looks a little off in terms of color, it's time to break out the magnifying glass and check for the telltale signs of that unplated error. Remember, it's rare, but not impossible to find. And when you do, you might just have yourself a small fortune. Before I wrap up, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips on how to spot valuable coins, collect them like a pro, and turn those pennies into something worth far more than their face value. I'll be bringing you more tricks and strategies to help you navigate the fascinating world of coin collecting. Until next time, keep checking your pocket change, and who knows, your next find could be worth $1,000,000. Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and join me on this coin collecting journey, because you never know when that $1,000,000 penny will show up.